On expensive infrastructure projects, the U.S. spends less than most countries, only about 2% of GDP, compared to 5% for Europe and 9% for China. Senator John Kerry warns without additional investment, the U.S. will lose its competitive edge.
Rising economic powers around the world, our competitors, China, India, Brazil, Mexico, other countries, are all investing in their future. And they're all investing in their future much more significantly than the United States. The truth is, we are moving at our current rate towards a secondary competitive status because of our inattention to the infrastructure of our country.
One of the options before the Senate Banking Committee is a $50 billion fund to create a bank that would pool private and public resources to upgrade the nation's aging roads, railways, and airports. Treasury Department Chief Economist Alan Krueger says that investment makes good economic sense.
Infrastructure investment will provide opportunities for workers who were disproportionately affected by the recession. Due to the collapse of the real estate market, the contraction of employment in the construction industry has been especially acute.
1 in 5 of the 8 million jobs lost during the recession was in construction, which has an unemployment rate nearly twice as high as the national average. While most lawmakers on the panel were receptive, Montana Senator John Tester expressed concerns that smaller communities would not be able to compete.
How does Montana get a fair shot at any sort of investment when, quite honestly, we don't have a population base that's the size of a place like Pittsburgh, much less, a bigger city or a bigger state.
Still, others, like senior Republican Senator Richard Shelby, fear the proposal would create another government-sponsored enterprise that puts public funds at risk.
I fear that the bank would simply be a new GSE or something like it. And we will face another Fannie and Freddie type entity that will cost the taxpayers money down the road.
But Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell argues that partnering with the private sector helps reduce the risk.
And in fact, the bank, because it will leverage private sector investments in most cases, I think you'll see a higher scrutiny on projects because the private sector is interested in a rate of return. And for the rate of return to be successful, the project has to be successful. So you'll not only have some level of government oversight, but you'll have the investor oversight as well.
The National Infrastructure Bank, also called iBank, would use private, state, and local capital to fund infrastructure projects without the normal red tape from Congress. The Congressional Budget Office, which reviews the fiscal implications of U.S. legislation, says infrastructure spending is one of the most effective policy options for reducing the nation's high unemployment rate. Arcega, VOA News.